and welcome to the 5th episode of Maidencast. And this week we are doing a peak in many ways. They go on to reach many other peaks, but certainly a critical success for the band. And this week we're doing Powerslave.
Indeed.
Released in 1984. I was only just realised that's not even 5. That's 5 albums in under 5 years.
Yeah, no. So I mean, it's just a phenomenal creative run. You know, most bands would have fucking split up by now.
Yeah, and not only that, I think that kind of explains. In the last episode, in the last couple of albums, we have been stumbling across a bit of filler, and I think we're going to stumble across a bit more on this episode.
Yeah,
I suspect, and I think that might have a little bit to do with it because I don't think they were really given a chance to pause for breath, and it was a bit of.
It's probably one of the reasons why fucking Dickinson turned into a dribbling wreck after the World Slavery Tour and wanted to do a fucking country and western album. You know, it was just constant album, longest world tour ever album, and you know you can't do it.
It don't seem like it ever stopped either. I'm just looking through the. I mean, they only paused for a small break at that, with the Live After Death album. So that was 85. 86, bang, straight out with Somewhere in Time.
That's it.
The tours are obviously getting longer at this point. So that
that's why they went to 2 years between albums.
Yeah, so then Seventh Son in 88, No Prayer for the Dying in 1990, Fear of the Dark 92. And it wasn't even that long. So
no, when you think,
the big tour they did with Fear After Dark, the thing whole thing with Bruce leaving, and then it was only an extra year with the X Factor.
That's it.
And this is what really took me aback when I read it. It's only 2 years between Virtual Excel and Brave New World.
Yeah.
That is like
Virtual
the amount of changes that went on between in those 2 years.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. So that's why you don't get an album. You get an album once every 5 years now.
Yeah.
They're taking it easy.
Well, I think at a certain level as well, when you do play, like, you know, they're not even they play arenas, but they're in other countries, there's certainly a stadium band and there's certainly a festival headlining band. Yeah. I think at that level, it does go into 5 year gaps. I think anyone on that level is 5 years now.
Unless you're Metallica.
Unless you're Metallica, and you do.
It's 8 years. But to be fair to Metallica, they do like 400 tours in that time. It's not like they sit at home, you know, watching Neighbours.
Well, Lars likes to buy his paint. Which I don't begrudge him, actually. I think Lars gets a lot of stick for, especially on that, what was that film? That train wreck documentary.
Some Kind of Monster.
Yeah. Lars was the only one that actually gave a shit about the band in that film.
Yeah, I remember you saying all he wanted to do was fucking sell his pictures and play drums, wasn't it?
Yeah, all he wanted to do was get an album done and go on tour. He was the only one that actually wanted to be there, and yet for some reason he got all the flack. Yeah.
No, that's, you know my feelings on Lars. He gets a fucking load of unnecessary abuse.
So, digression aside.
Yeah, I'm going to say, we fucking had to end up on there.
So, we go big on this one. Let's discuss the artwork.
It's strong argument for the best album cover of all time, of any fucking genre, any band, whatever. You know, not just talking about Eddie. I mean, it's a fucking marvel, absolute marvel.
I probably prefer Somewhere in Time myself, but I know where you're going.
I mean, obviously we get
pretty epic, pretty majestic, and I had a look up of the Easter eggs as well. Are you aware of them?
Yeah, I haven't looked them up for this one, but I know there's always some there. You've always got Derek's little signature thing. The Reaper's always there. I mean, I know fucking R2-D2 and C-3PO are in the hieroglyphics.
I didn't see anything about C-3PO. I've got Indiana Jones was here in the writing. There's a Mickey Mouse, and on the other side it says, what? No Guinness? And something else as well. But one thing that does strike me, on the left-hand corner there's a circle of... Is it birds or like seagulls? Yeah, you get seagulls in Egypt.
Seagulls in ancient Egypt.
It looks like some flock of birds, but they're in a circle. bring the image up on your screen, you'll see what I mean. It's just on the left-hand corner. Does that signify something? Because it kind of looks like a little bit like a clock, and I'm thinking, is that 2 minutes to midnight? Like from a back, it does kind of take the form. I don't know if that's just, you look at a cloud and say that looks like a dinosaur or something.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
But it's not there for nothing, is it? That's what I'm saying.
No, nothing Riggsy does, especially during that time, was there for no reason. You could pour over these things with fucking magnifying glass. Such was the the brilliance of it. I mean, we could say we could do an episode just on the fucking artwork.
Yeah, I think we are going to do one on Eddie eventually. So obviously on the back as well, you see from inside the temple. That's pretty cool as well. Yeah. I thought there'd be some little things in that as well, but you end up becoming a bit of a. With these, I find if you ever speak to a conspiracy theorist, they always seem to see things that other people don't, and they just look for symbols and just find them.
Yeah, you can find anything in anything,
Yeah, but especially with the Somewhere in Time artwork, I always, when I look at these albums now, with Derek Riggs in mind, I'm always looking for something to. And maybe I've done that with the birds in this corner there. But anyway,
yeah.
So, any other fun facts you want to throw at us before we dive into the music?
Yeah, I mean, obviously production as usual by Birch. His nickname was Paul Bully on this, so fucking read into that what you will. Living in the Bahamas, I imagine they spent a lot of time around the pool. But so yeah, that's that. And the first album to feature the previous lineup.
Yes, that's right. It was something I meant to point out. Yeah, first time they recorded with the same lineup twice.
So it's that they're at that point now. They found their rhythm. They found their ideal lineup.
Nico's well and truly settled in. Bruce is well and truly settled in. He's part of the.
Yeah, he's writing. I mean, I read this was the reason for the artwork, obviously him being immortalised, was the fact they killed him in the World Peace Tour. They killed him on stage. You actually see it on 12 Wasted Years.
Yeah, that's right. He pulls the brain out the head.
Brain out and all that. So Derek was like, I've got to do something.
You there, guys?
And one song every fucking 2 years.
You froze for a second there, but it's all right. I got you back. What was you saying? Hopefully it corrects itself in the...
First album for... since they started that Dave Murray hasn't written a song on.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, which is unusual.
I've not looked into who wrote what, actually. I should.
Oh, yeah, you need to do it. I mean, it's an eye-opener. And apparently this was this was the album that made them megastars.
Yes, obviously you've got the Live After Death.
They broke America on it, and I read a quote with Nico saying, we got big very fucking fast. It was almost too fast. Going out in America, fucking living the high life. I imagine there was a lot of powder and all that, doing the rounds, a lot of booze. So it's surprising. Fair play to them, they managed to keep it together. Because a lot of bands have fallen by the wayside. First big American tours and all that, and they just fucking snort themselves up their own arse.
Well, yeah, Iron Maiden haven't been without their pitfalls, but I think Steve Harris has just always kept a lid on it. I mean, let's face it, Paul Di'Anno was lining up to be the rock star, classic tragedy cliche. Had they not kicked him out of the bands, God knows what he would have gone on to do.
Oh yeah, Maiden would have folded. They would have folded there and then, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if they've never really had much of a history of drugs, Maiden. I mean, who knows what went on behind closed doors?
I think they've all said that.
But they all kind of kept it.
But they've all said it was involved. They weren't trying to be fucking quiet boys. They all said, no, we did a bit.
Yeah, but it just never got out of control, basically.
And that's partly, I imagine, having Rod in your corner.
Rod and Steve, really.
Steve had been a driving force, but having a manager like Rod, he's underrated as a member of Iron Maiden, because without him...
Well, he's a big burly Yorkshireman as well, and
he sorted out all their money, all that shit, all these deals,
shoving that shit up your nose. You're fucking up the band, and that's that. Piss off. You know, they're very. There's not a lot of diplomacy. Diplomacy, yeah. In
diplomacy, yeah.
Diplomacy. There you go. And with the Yorkshiremen that I've worked with, anyway, it's
they talk straight talkers, don't they?
Yeah, and not only that, got to remember Steve Harris is predominantly a failed footballer, and he would have that. He has got that sports discipline as well. Yeah. And I do think
your body fit and all that.
I do think he approached the band as a sportsman, because a sportsman gets up and practices every day, come rain, come shine. I think he definitely had that. But yeah, like you say, was it fucking like 150 concerts on the... Lemmy paraphrased it brilliantly. He says, you know, when you've got 136 shows in 140 days and at 9 o'clock at night, you've got to be ready to run a marathon.
Yeah.
At 35, you're not going to get through that high on life. You're going to...
No, that's it. You need some stimulants.
Need a bit of help. So... But yeah, apparently a bottle of vodka never lasted long backstage either.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
I think it was a magazine I was reading recently as well on this tour. There was a quote from Adrian Smith. He went, all of a sudden there was girls all over us. He went, I didn't even get to finish my pizza.
What a legend. That's quality.
So on that note...
just one more thing before we get in. Do you know... this was beaten to number 1. They were sabotaged by their own record label.
Go on, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, because obviously EMI they started the Now That's What I Call Music compilation album. That was their thing.
Yeah.
And they released it at the same time as Powerslave. So Powerslave got to number 2. Now I think it was Now 3 got to number 1. So they sabotaged themselves. They could have had a number 1 album and then another number 1 album, but they didn't. They fucking stuck it out at the same time. It's almost like why? You took a chance on this band. They're fucking paying you back in spades. Yet you try and sabotage their effort. They only released, it's once a year they release an album. You could release that shit anytime, and they put it out at the same time.
Because it was now, all the tiddlywinks fucking. Smash Hits magazine, all them buy Now That's What I Call Music, didn't they? You know.
That's it. But why put it out at the same time? You know, it just don't make any fucking sense. But mind you, when have record labels ever made
sense? Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's a shame. But there you go. It's in the long run, it's continued to sell.
Oh yeah, of course it has. I mean, history. History's written by the victor, and who remembers Now 3? No cunt. Who remembers Powerslave?
Yeah, it would have been on that. Bros or
what in 84? No, Bros was still popping zits then.
Who was that in 84? Who was on the first
Bananarama and all that?
Fucking hell.
Fucking Human League and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So kicking off with Aces High, the first Iron Maiden song I ever heard.
Fucking hell, it all goes downhill after that, mate. It's one of the greatest.
Yeah. And I remember, I don't know if I told this story, my dad was into the basics of heavy metal, so Zeppelin and Sabbath and stuff like that. And I think it was on holiday in Mallorca. And there was just these, you go to Spain, there's always like the postcard shops and T-shirts and that. And loads of people, especially the kids, like sort of teenagers, were wearing Iron Maiden T-shirts, Guns N' Roses and whatnot. And there was a lot of these shops that sold cassettes. And I was like, who's this then? AC/DC and Iron Maiden. And he kind of went, oh, no, you don't want that. It's all screaming. little did he know. And I remember as well the Megadeth later on. No, yeah, Countdown to Extinction was by then. And I remember just, even to this day, that's one of my favourite album covers because I was seeing it as a kid. Yeah. That's like, you can imagine seeing all these cassettes and it's like Iron Maiden and Countdown to Extinction. This is the equivalent of being in the video shop in the horror section.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You go, this looks fucking cool,
Yeah.
And anyway, as I grew up and started getting into my own thing, started buying my own records with pocket money and that, it was a bit of like, you're seeing the Iron Maiden in the thing, and what are these actually like, Yeah. And I think I jumped on. Well, I did. I jumped on board with Brave New World. That was when I think the first album I actually bought was Best of the Beast, and then followed it up with Brave New World, and then the rest is history. But I think it was Ian Camfield's The Rock Show on XFM.
I was at XFM, right? Yeah.
And it was the opening track, so you would have your introduction, The Rock Show, XFM, with Ian Camfield, you know, load of fucking riffs and that.
Yeah.
And then just I was like, who the fuck? Because normally it'd be like Ace. He always opened with like a classic.
Yeah.
And then it'd be, right, welcome to The Rock Show, you know. But yeah, and I was just like, who is this? And that was Iron Maiden with Aces High. And this week we've got interviews with, and yeah, it was just, oh, right, so that's what they sound like after all these years, you know. The mystery was finally lifted, you know. When was the first time you heard this?
Aces High. I mean, I'd been into Maiden, fucking hell, like I say, since I was 3. I was 82 when Number of the Beast come out. I was 3 years old. Obviously, that's my one of my earliest memories is Run to the Hills. And my dad got the vinyl, got them out every year. I've got all the vinyls in the cupboard, all the fucking sleeves all ripped to shit where they've been well played and well worn and sort of thing.
As they should be.
Yeah. And he got them right the way up to Seventh Son. And whether he didn't like No Prayer or not, I don't know. He just never got it, or whether he got it on tape or whatever, something different. But I would have been listening to him on and off because that was one of the first things I was taught. I was taught how to use the video player. I had VHS, so I didn't put fucking toast in it or whatever. And I was taught how to use the turntable.
I remember having the same lesson.
Like write a passage like, you're old enough now, son. You learn how to use it. And I headphones on, fucking albums, Gary Moore, Maiden, Priest, Bryan Adams. That was my school. Sitting there at night, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the winter, it was all dark outside. Mum and Dad watching telly. Headphones on.
They were probably falling off.
Giving it, mate. You know, quality. Yeah. It was awesome. So I would have heard it without knowing I'd heard it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But when I was old enough, I mean, first Maiden album I bought physically was Fear of the Dark. So I would have, because that's when my dad died the year that came out. So that started me on a backtrack through rock and metal history. And that's when I would have got all the CDs. So it would have been at 92. I heard it for the first time. I actually knew I'd heard it. And it's Jaw on the Floor time. I mean, it's a top 10 easy Maiden song of all time. It's a top 10 metal song of all time. I mean, I'm going straight to the top table, as you always say I do. But this song is fucking. It's on another level, mate. There's bands looking at that, thinking, "Fucking hell, wish we wrote that." Everything about it. The only thing that ruins it on the album is there ain't no Churchill speech at the front of it. Because it's on the video.
And it's obviously opens up a live show as well.
And it set the tone. You got Churchill talking about we're going to go on to the end and all the rest of it. And then, boom, straight in. Images of Spitfires and fucking all that. I mean, it's just such a great homage to the Battle of Britain heroes, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's so simple, so effective. I mean, the guitar line goes along with vocals. You know, there's no intricate riffing. You know, it's designed to keep it simple, keep it going, keep it flowing.
It's it's an odd song though, really, when you think about it. As much as it works, it is. You just think, you know, it's a. It hits the ground running and it just doesn't stop running. It's a sprint and it just doesn't stop for breath. And
no, it doesn't. And it's a fucking killer because I play along to this on my Saturday morning jamming when I play drums, and if it comes on my shuffle, it is 100 miles an hour. There ain't no fucking let up, and it's 4.5 minutes, and you're fucked at the end of it.
Yeah,
I wonder they had to slow it down slightly when they play it live now.
Well, the fact that they always opened with it as well, because it's never in any other part of the set. It's only ever been an opener. And I mean, in that live, just quickly, with Live After Death, we won't go into it because we're going to cover the live albums in a separate thing. Just so I know, is the album and the video different? Because I know it was recorded. Yeah,
recorded over 4 nights, and it's different. The video is not the same as the album.
Right, cool. Because I've always, just because I've got the album there, I just always preferred to watch the video. The video. Yeah, I had it on video, and I bought it just as DVDs hadn't quite. They were just coming in the video section. I told you this before, didn't I? When I bought them live at the Rainbow Theatre.
Yeah.
Videos, they were practically giving them away, and I found a copy of Live After Death, and I just preferred watching it rather than listening to it.
You've got the option. Something there, isn't it? Especially when Maiden are on stage, where they're running about and it catches your eye. Yeah,
but Bruce struggles with that song, and it's not because I've heard people say, Live After Death's got this big, but Bruce's vocals are shit on it, and it's not actually Bruce's fault. It's why do all bands insist on recording a live album on the last night of the tour?
Yeah, when they're fucked.
Why do they never do the first night or the third night or 2 weeks in maybe when they're really on fire? But it just said you could just tell Bruce's vocals are just fucked at the end of it.
But it's such a level, like an octave or whatever, what he sung it originally.
Yeah, but what I think it is, it's not so much he's not hitting a note. He's actually running out of breath.
Yeah,
because you think fireworks, bang, running out. Yeah, come on. Yeah, there goes a siren. And he's full of adrenaline. And I think what was the line? Scrambling and you see he literally just goes up. He even goes up a note.
Yeah,
it's as if he's just trying to catch some air. It's like he breathes in while singing in order to carry on. But again, the vocals and the drums are no different. It's just go. And then with the chorus, he's able to hit a load of high notes.
Yeah. And that helps having Adrian there doing the backing vocals, because he's actually got a great voice.
Yeah.
The less said about Steve, the better with his singing. But it's Adrian's voice is awesome, as we discover on the B-sides for Somewhere in Time. But speaking of Adrian, that goes way in, because the solos in this are proper fucking heavy metal solos, mate. And it's during that chorus that you've already mentioned, when Adrian does that dive bomb on his guitar, when he just grabs the fucking whammy bar and bends it.
Yeah.
The old hairs on the back of the neck come up. It's the proper fucking heavy metal moment, and it's just awesome. Best album opener by far.
Yeah. And I don't know, for some reason, death metal bands always insist on coffee in this, and it never works.
Testament covered it as well, didn't they?
No, Testament covered Powerslave.
That's it. Yeah. Oh no, I'm thinking of Arch Enemy covered this.
Yeah.
Before they got Angela in the band.
This was when they had the guy singing. Yeah. Who I used to get compared to a lot. I say apparently. No, I did. I was there. Yeah. I used to get told I sounded like him.
Worst vocalist to be compared to.
Yeah, true. I was the singer that got kicked out of Arch Enemy. They reformed with him actually under a different name. They kind of did what Sabbath did with Ronnie. Called Black Earth or Scorched Earth, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was the same name as their first album, wasn't
it? Yeah, and they just did the 3 albums he did. Yeah. So that was cool. But Aces High. Well, I say we hit the ground running, and we're going to carry on running.
Oh yeah.
This opens with the ultimate 1-2 punch.
Oh, it is
straight into 2 minutes to midnight.
Maiden's best 1-2 punch, I think.
Yeah. One of my favourite songs, much like Run to the Hills, but the opposite. It's a song that I think they've played it every time I've seen them.
Pretty much.
But it's not a song I get sick of, actually.
No,
and
it's a fucking fist in the air, this one.
Yeah, and funnily enough, as my favourite solo. No, one. But it's not actually that good a solo.
No, but it's not. But no, I know what you mean. It's not a Kirk Hammett tearing the fretboard up during the Unforgiven. It's just an effective use of notes, isn't it?
It's my. I'll give you my 3. It's Master of Puppets. The melodic solo on that just fucking amazing. Seeing Kirk Hammett do that at Download as well, while the sun was setting, was as close to a religious moment as I've ever got. Secret Face by Death. Paul Mansdevol or something. I can't pronounce his name, but his solo on Secret Face again just makes me feel like I'm driving over a hill. And this 2 minutes to midnight, and it's not even that much of a solo, but just the and then it's that
Yeah, it's awesome. It carries on over the build up, doesn't it? Oh yeah, brilliant.
And it's just sometimes he just lets some notes hang. That's all.
Yeah, so simple.
And it is just this. It's just this pause for breath, because and then that's it. We're on the roller coaster again.
Yeah, back in,
straight down. It is. It's kind of like on a roller coaster. You have that climb up.
Yeah.
And then you have that little split second where you take in the horizon.
Yeah.
And then boom, and then that little section catches that perfectly for me. And I don't know why, it just works every time. Every time I see the song live, every time I hear it, during that little section, the world just stops.
Yeah, everything's right in the world again, isn't it? You know, just for that 10, 20 seconds. But it's the magical combo of Smith and Dickinson. Again, I mean, how can you have a song this good and Steve Harris is nowhere near it? Smith and Dickinson, mate, they were a twosome when they got together.
Smith and Dickinson, I'm sure I've got a tin of shoe polish.
Yeah. Good for everything, making metal songs and cleaning the shit. But this is definitely Maiden's most, and I would say only political song. Without it being political, they're writing what... The lyrics are written how they feel about it, but they're not trying to make a statement, if you know what I mean.
Well,
because the lyrics are amazing. I've written some of the lines out because they are fucking, you know.
Well, you say, because I'll tell you my interpretation, and it is only an interpretation.
As the madman play on words and make us all dance to their songs to the tune of Starving Millions to make a better kind of gun. You can read that back through time. You know, there's always budgets for a war, but there's never budget to feed the homeless and all, you know what I mean? It's the same now. As the reasons for the carnage, cut their meat and lick the gravy, we all the jaws of the war machine and feed it with our babies. You know, sending the young men off to war all the time. It's always the young ones that go and never come back. And it's, you know, it is not political. Being political is the wrong word, but they're actually saying something about something that was
philosophical.
This was written at the height of fucking nuclear threat.
That's what I was.
Height of the Cold War. You know, everyone thinks we're going to get nuked. Hence the album cover with a fucking nuke going off, or the single cover with a nuke going off, sorry. You know, this is them really, and 2 minutes to midnight, obviously, is the closest we come to Armageddon, isn't it?
Yes,
on the old nuke,
that's
on the
what
old
it was.
atomic
It was,
clock.
I think it was the closest they came to pressing the button, and it was right, we are currently 2 minutes to midnight. Yeah. That's the code for it.
Midnight being the end of the world.
And I thought...
we don't know.
But to kill the unborn in the womb and for the demon seed, I thought there was like a bit of Revelations in there as well, because in the book of Revelations, it's predicted the world.
It
would be
end of days, isn't it, and all that.
Yeah.
You
know? And I thought there was a bit of overlap. It was a little bit of that, bit of.
It's definitely them making us. You know, when they do want to make a point, they can write about dragons and fucking, you know, assassins and knights and all that as much as they want, but when they've got a point to make, they'll make it. They made it on Fear of the Dark with Afraid to Shoot Strangers, because that was about the Iraq War. You know, when they want to do it, they'll fucking do it. And
they speak a lot about the Gulf War as well on the X Factor, and obviously
Fortune War and all that.
Yeah, I think a bit of Apocalypse Now is because Heart of Darkness. Apocalypse Now is based on a book called Heart of Darkness,
and that's what Edge of Darkness is based on. Yeah,
and I think Edge of Darkness should have been a better title for the album. But anyway, we'll discuss that on the night.
Yeah, we get there. Yeah.
It's a political song, but it's not a political.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah,
it's like reading a book. It's like a documentary, or
it's just Maiden making their point known on how they see it. They're not trying to say war is wrong and all that, or you know, obviously war is wrong, but they're not trying to fucking say that. They're just they're writing about what they see on the fucking news and in the papers, and it is what it is. They're not trying to make you go either way.
But with the nuclear threat as well, he touches that again on Brighter Than a Thousand Suns.
Yeah, it's written about Oppenheimer, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'll digress. Actually, there was a big time, and I watched something recently where a guy said, especially in the 80s, where things were really hedonistic and, you know, divorce was up and people weren't really People were sort of this whole live for now and fuck tomorrow sort of thing. He said that's because we grew up thinking the nuclear bomb was going to go off any day.
Yeah.
And he went, and he goes, watch this. He went, I used to watch this after kids' telly, and he brought up this fucking BBC 5-minute film.
Yeah,
what to do if a nuclear bomb comes off.
Paint yourself white to deflect the blast and all that shit. And
yeah, but that you think that's taking a piss, but it weren't much better than it.
That was legit.
It was like, take doors off the hinges and get your mattress thing, pile them all up and hide behind them.
Yeah.
Like that.
It was on the young ones, mate, where fucking Neil's painting himself white with a fucking paintbrush. And
but he talks about the young ones, innit? He sort of went like, you the young ones took the piss out of it, but what they did, it weren't much better than the real thing, the advice they were giving her.
Yeah, the old Protect and Survive manual. You know?
He went, I swear, there's a generation of us were basically growing up, basically just saying, well, there's not a lot of point in planning for the future because it could all be over.
We're all going to get evaporated.
Yeah, and he said that he went, as a kid, I used to go to bed sometimes petrified because I didn't think I was going to wake up. So this was
it's a fucking real shit, mate. You know, you probably, I mean, I've got vague memories of it.
This is before.
I was 11. Well, I was 10 when the wall came down. So I've got vague memories of it. But yeah, I imagine it was a fucking scary time.
No, I mean, September 1984 when this album came out, I was born in June. So what was I, 4, 5 months?
Yeah. I mean, I just started school. I was 5.
Yeah, crazy. So a classic track anyway.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a sad fact, actually. But while I like to interject a little did you knows. It's actually quite sad, but worth mentioning. Paul Bailoff, the original singer of Exodus, had a stroke. I think it was a stroke he died of, but he was basically on a life support machine, and the writing was on the wall. And when they decided to turn off his life support machine, everyone gathered round and played 2 minutes to midnight.
Oh,
because that was his favourite song.
Oh, quality. I suppose if you could have it in your power, you wanted to go out, like that with your family around you.
Yeah. And Gary Holt was, Gary Holt speaks about it on the DVD about it. He's like, Gary Holt was actually listed as his next of kin.
Yeah.
That's fucking, it's deep, isn't it?
Yeah, I know they were.
So then we are.
After such highs, the lows inevitably have to come.
Yeah.
Inevitably have to come. And there's nothing wrong with loss for words.
I'm lost for words myself, mate. Yeah, but
yeah, there's some great music in it.
Why now?
Yeah,
that's my only thing with this song. It's just why. Yeah. Yeah,
Transylvania worked where it was. But after such a fucking mesmerising open, you got that 1-2 punch. You're ready to finish people off now, and they come in with this. It's almost like we'll give them a bit of rest. No, fucking go for the throat.
Yeah, But
the thing is, the rest of the album doesn't really go for the throat until the end.
Yeah, I mean, it gets some really good riffs, some really good melodies, and it's all right. It kind of didn't, it chugs along. It basically starts off. You go, right, where's this going? Because Bruce should start singing a minute, shouldn't he? And it gets a bit, and it's not. I mean, this is on the menu for Visions of the Beast.
Yeah,
and that's all it is. It's a menu background track, and it's just, again, it's not terrible, but.
No, again,
it's not a patch on Genghis Khan or Transylvania. No. Not a patch on it.
No.
And I mean, you wouldn't play it live, would you?
No.
And
intro type. It's just one of them. It's like fucking hell, really. But that was the perils of Maiden, and it still is the perils of Maiden. They such ridiculous highs, but then you fucking hell, you're down.
Yeah, and.
Under the sea,
I think as well, I'd be a little bit more forgiving if it was like later on in the album. I don't know why, but
yeah, the start. I mean, I always criticise bands for front loading an album.
Yeah,
and you always like Metallica did it on Hardwired, the first album because it's a double. the first tracks are fucking amazing. Some of the best things Metallica have written in the last 30 years. But in the back half of the album, it's like, oh shit, you should have spread some of them out. But I suppose it's a black art into putting the perfect track list together, really.
Yeah, of course. But I think even if you had like Flash of the Blade and then the Duel List and then put this as closing the first side or in the middle of an album, you could kind of say it's like an interlude. It's the album
closing side A, track 4.
Yeah.
So you have Flash of the Blade before this and it'll work a lot better.
Yeah. Something like that maybe. But yeah, what made them, I don't know. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, yeah, never mind. Lots of words. We're skipping. And then we're on to Flash of the Blade.
Yeah. Dickinson, another solo Dickinson composition.
Solo Dickinson song, yeah. Right, so it's this part of the...
Swords, mate. Of course it's Dickinson wrote it. About fucking dueling. You know, it's filler, but there is an amazing song in here, just struggling to get out. Because the main riff is fucking awesome.
I don't mind it, actually.
I like the song. I mean, listening to it again, obviously I've been listening to the albums, doing the reviews, and I'd always had a soft spot for this. It was always filler, but it wasn't bad filler. But listening to it again, especially with decent headphones on, you can hear the shit going on underneath. And Harris's bass playing on this is off the fucking chart. Because he's got to carry the song. There's no real riff. It's like open chords underneath the old, the picking. I mean, I'm not a guitarist, so the definitions are wrong. But the old main, all that shit, you've only got open chord strumming underneath it. So Harris has to carry it. And the drums are upbeat, the bass is all over the show. And the music is fucking good. And it's just to think a bit more thought had gone into this. You'd have had a standout song instead of this is all right, but not as good as 2 Minutes to Midnight.
Do you know who does a pretty good cover of this song?
Go on.
Ready? Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh, fucking hell. I'd heard they covered it. I hate that fucking band.
All I'll say is give it a go.
I used to take the piss out of that band when they fucking released the fucking 7th Trumpet album or whatever it was. Because they had a lyric about smell the burning embers, and we used to take the piss out of it when I was in the band, when I was in Set in Silence with the rest of the boys. Rip the shit out of it because they were hideous.
They kind of started out as this sort of gothic hardcore band.
They were fucking all... They're just shit. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they're the biggest metal band on the planet.
And then the third album, they went, right, we're basically going to become Guns N' Roses now. And then, something weird about that band, because they can all play. I mean, the Rev could play the shit out of the kit and all that. It's just like, but it sounds like you're taking the piss. It's like you're trying to be...
Yeah, they're the Steel Panther of heavy metal.
Yeah, it's like, are they trying to be a parody? Because it kind of sounds... Yeah. But they seem to be taking themselves pretty fucking seriously as well.
And when you can make Rob Flynn criticise your band with legitimate criticisms about how they've just ripping off Metallica. You know, Rob Flynn gets a lot of fucking slack for speaking out of turn and all the rest of it. But he fucking nailed it about Avenged Sevenfold. He said, fucking, who'd have thought being a Metallica covers band would be so profitable? You know? And fair play to him, because that's Avenged Sevenfold in a fucking nutshell. You know, they're riding on people's coattails.
Yeah. They've basically gone, right, we're going to do this on this album, we're going to be this band on this album.
And they need to fuck off quickly.
Yeah. Odd band. But in all fairness to them, it's not a bad cover. But yeah, I know what you mean. But I think it's just... I think what you're saying is where... everything's in place, but it's not quite pulled off. And maybe
all the bits of there to have a real standout fucking.
Maybe someone covering that song is what it might need, because they're going to take it and put their own little stamp on it with some modern production. Maybe putting a little fresh sort of take on it. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, you can imagine someone like Anthrax covering this song.
Oh yeah, well, no, I just want to bring you back to the point you made about production. I didn't give old Martin Birch his props on this one, because after the abortion, it was Peace of Mind. He come out to play on this one because it's beefy. The drums are there; they're in your face. You can hear Nico's kick drums. There's a bit of weight in there, so well done.
Fair enough. And Nico is on fire on this album as well.
Yeah, he is. Really settled into the drum stall, and
I've seen an interview with him saying as well, like I listened to some of the old albums. You went, I don't even think it's me playing. You went, I don't even know how I did it.
Yeah, I mean the geezer's a beast, and he does not get, because he doesn't play double kick and because he doesn't play fucking in the 7/8 time and all that shit. Fuck that. He is one of the finest drummers the planet has ever seen.
I love it as well when they go, why don't you use a double kick? You know, because I don't fucking use a double kick. That's why.
Yeah.
We went to see him once, didn't we?
Yeah, we did at Finway.
Stand up. It was going to be a drum tuition, but
when he did his Jimmy Jones impression.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just
saw him. Me and the missus actually went to see him.
You went to see him with Ian Pace, didn't you?
No, I didn't go see that one. We went to see him with Al Murray in Manchester at the drum show. They did a sit down Q&A sort of thing, and he did a fucking 15-minute drum solo. And he was talking about the
Al
other
Murray?
Yeah.
The fucking...
Yeah.
The landlord?
Yeah. Well, they brought him in because I think whoever it must... Yeah. Well, it must have been Rod after the abortion that was Nico when he was left alone at that fucking thing. When he set back women's lib and gay rights about fucking 400 years. So I think that Rod was like, no, you're going to have someone on there with you to control you. And it actually worked quite well. But when we get round to Powerslave, I've got a bit of a story to tell about the other side that you might not know about Mission from Harry, the old infamous B-side.
All right, yeah, go on.
When we get there.
I'm looking forward to that, is what I mean. Yeah. Just to fucking digress one quick. You mentioned your dad's record collection. Gary Moore.
Yeah.
What Gary Moore albums did he like?
I can't remember. What was one?
I've got this one here. This is a rocking album.
Weren't that one?
He's kind of known as a blues player, but he did in the 80s. He did a load.
Yeah, no, he went hard rock, didn't he?
Sort of soft.
Over the Hills and Far Away. Together We Will Return Someday. I can't remember the fucking song, but that was.
I think that's the album after this one.
Might have been it, but yeah,
this one and the album after it are kind of double barrel.
But no, Dad was bang into it at the time. Yeah,
it was proto metal really, and it's odd that you was never really into Thin Lizzy, but you seems like you were into Gary Moore.
Yeah, no, because I appreciate Thin Lizzy, but I can't listen to them all the time.
For a good 3-4 album run, they were pretty neck and neck. They were interchangeable really. Plus, he joined them for a bit, and But yeah. Anyway, digression again. So
well, it's better than getting back to the fucking song that comes after Flash of the Blade. Anyway.
Really? Right. Okay. This is where it's going to get interesting because I quite like this song.
Oh mate.
Let's.
I've actually got to apologise for my comment on the Peace of Mind show where I said this talk about Bruce Dickinson's Sword trilogy. It's only a duology because actually Harris wrote this.
Oh really? Well, it's a trilogy regardless.
It was based on a film apparently, but it's just typical Maiden filler. It's quite heavy when it kicks in. It's one of the heaviest Maiden songs like going, but it's good music, good musicality, good playing, but it doesn't really say anything, and it goes on far too long.
It's a Bruce song, and I think Bruce shines on this one off. I like the old chorus. Whoa,
I hate that.
And
I hate that.
I don't know. I think this is one of the songs I'd quite like to see come out of the. Has it ever been played live? I don't think it has been.
No, I don't think it has.
And I think this would be a nice little listen. Still Life is still my favourite, but of the songs that don't get played that often. But I think if this was chucked in as a little curveball, I think the crowd would go mad.
Yeah, they go mad. The fact it's been put in.
I prefer this to Flash of the Blade, actually.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't mind either of them, but we're still not on.
Oh no, we're not nowhere near the levels that the first two songs of the album fucking brought us up to. Yeah.
But out of the two songs, I prefer the Duelist. But now I'm thinking of it, I think I might prefer Flash of the Blade. But I do like Duelist, I've got to say.
Yeah, no, not for me this one. I suppose it's fucking rinse and repeat for
Back in the Village, and we're back in the village. Yeah.
It's the one time Smith and Dickinson didn't hit home run for me because it's just more filler. The lyrics are weird because I've read obviously stuff that this is based on The Prisoner again.
Yeah, Yeah, I heard that.
There's also a lot of flying terminology in the lyrics as well. So it's like almost like this two song, like it's almost like a fucking Holy Wars, two songs melded together, like especially lyric wise.
Possibly. Have you ever seen The Prisoner, by the way? Because I've heard it's fucking brilliant. The original one, that is.
Yeah, back in the 80s, I watched it when I was a kid, but not to remember.
I listened to a lot of sci-fi podcasts, and two shows that are, you don't watch Doctor Who for the special effects, you watch it for the writing. But two, in fact, I was going to send you one. It was like 4.5 hours where they talk about Battlestar Galactica.
Fucking hell.
The new one. And two things I want to go back and watch if I can get hold of them is the original Prisoner and Blake 7. Apparently Blake 7's really underrated.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah.
You'd be able to find them. They'd probably be on YouTube.
Yeah, they're old enough. And once they're a certain age, doesn't it become public?
Not sure what the rights are.
But, I know you can watch all the older Hammer horror films on YouTube now, can't you? And all the old black and white ones and whatnot. But yeah, anyway, back to the village. We're kind of just trudging along at this point, aren't we?
Treading water, aren't we? It's like, right, we shot our ball on Ace's Iron 2 minutes to midnight. We need to have a fucking bit of a fucking just sit here treading water till we get through to Powerslave and Mariner, which is not very good, really.
Yeah, it's an odd one, isn't it? It's just you've got like this double barrel either side, the two pillars holding it up, and then you've just got a load of water in the middle.
Yeah,
it's like I say, I think Flash of the Blade and Duelist can be quite underrated if you're sick of listening to Ace's High for the 1000th time, maybe. But even still, it's
no one's going to go back in the village as their first pick on Powerslave, are they?
No, exactly. If Bruce Dickinson just miraculously at a gig one night goes, "What do you want to hear?" and back in the village, it's like,
it ain't going to happen.
Yeah,
fucking hell. But no, I mean,
it's just Iron Maiden by numbers, isn't it? There's not really a lot more to say.
Yeah, which they've done.
Riff and
Where you pointed on it, you touched on it earlier. Like we both touched on it about 5 albums in fucking 5 calendar years. That's a lot of fucking writing.
Yeah.
So you can forgive them the odd bit of filler because of the highs they do hit, and they start again obviously on track 7.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the meat then. So moving on to Powerslave, another Dickinson solo.
Yeah. And we're back to having title tracks after Peace of Mind's little slip.
I didn't realise how much Dickinson wrote on his own, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, he goes for it.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder how he, the demo form of the song to the finished product.
Yeah,
I do wonder.
Because he plays guitar, because if you watch him on Live After Death, he plays a little bit of Revelations, doesn't he? Just as a bit of rhythm. So he knows enough around it to write.
Yeah,
he
has said, he was like, I can play guitar, but I'm no guitarist. I can play well enough to show.
Yeah, to write. If you're a songwriter, you'd have to do it. I think you'd have to.
Yeah, and I think when you've got Adrian Smith and Dave Murray on thing, and then you've got Roy Z.
Yeah,
you don't really need to improve. You can just kind of go, look.
Well, let's not forget Yannick, because he's
Yannick. Yeah,
he's a massively underrated writer. Yannick, he doesn't get the credit he deserves.
Yeah. We'll talk about Yannick when we get to him, but you're right. Yeah. He is. He gets a lot of flack, actually. Yannick.
He does.
I don't know why. We'll
do
the case
for
Yannick when we get. Well, we've got.
Well, we'll get there before Tatum.
Yeah, before then. But yeah, you know what I mean. He basically says, I know I can play well enough to show a guitarist what I mean, but then I give it to them, and then they jazz it up. So. Yeah, but I do wonder what the demo version of this song would have sounded like, or any of the other songs that he'd given. So, but yeah, epic part of the live show. He comes out with the fire. He's got the mask on. It's obviously the title track. Just quickly, a very good cover by Testament on the bonus track.
Found Formation of Damnation.
No, it's Dark Roots of the Earth. It is. So you got Gene Hoglan drumming on it.
Fucking hell, yeah. But no, musically,
sure it's Dark Roots of the Earth. Don't make me second guess myself.
Yeah. Sure but yeah, I mean, music really takes you. It puts you in ancient Egypt. I think it's really atmospheric, really moody. You feel like you're there in whatever tomb or sarcophagus that you want to pick. You feel like you're there. You're in it, and it's got an amazing interlude solo section.
Yeah,
and it is it's
very atmospheric as well.
Yeah, it is big time, and it just brings the level that you wanted after track 1 and 2, brings it straight back. You was on the verge of turning the album off. You're like, oh, fuck this, too much. But this was like, this grabs you by the balls, and you're like, right, no, we're back. Full attention, please.
Yeah, and it does take you. I mean, the album cover fucking helps. Let's face it.
Oh yeah, big time.
But it's the I hate to make the comparison, but Nile, you are there when you play it, and it's a different. Nile, it's probably a bit more of a horror theme, but this one is more of an Indiana Jones theme, I guess. But
and I mean, for me, what Maiden do well is, like I say, we're saying it takes you there, but it ain't just that. It's the artwork. It brings you're there. They do concept albums without doing a concept album. Powerslave, it's all about the ancient, all the way through it. You feel it. You got this weird thing about it. Seventh Son. All the songs are mystical, even though it's a failed concept. They do it later with Final Frontier. You can almost feel like spacey vibes. And then on Book of Souls, you got the title track, you got the artwork, you got all these songs. They managed to make it's not just an album, it's an event. And I think Maiden do that better than anyone.
That's why we're talking now. That's why we're doing this show.
Yeah, that's it. Nail on the head. Right, should we get to the piece de resistance?
Yes, the epic.
The culmination of 10 years' work.
Yes, again, they did it by accident with Hallowed Be Thy Name, and they went, that was really good.
Again on Tamerland.
How did we? Well, let's do it again, but we don't know how we did it, and then they figured out how they did it. So, really cool story this is based on as well, by the way.
Oh, the poem.
Yeah.
Samuel Taylor Coleridge, yeah.
And I think bands did the similar sort of thing, actually. There's a band called Ahab, who are very sort of quite proggy, kind of doomy band, quite heavy, but very kind of Pink Floydy in places as well. And all their songs, all their albums are based, like concept albums, but they're all based on something set at sea. So one's based on Moby Dick. And one's a bit like this. It's a voyage that goes into this sort of collection of islands, really. And there's these water monsters, like sort of creature of the Blue Lagoon type creatures attacking the ship. And similar sort of thing happens on this, doesn't it? Yeah.
But I mean, the poem it's a weird one because it made me I actually wrote an essay on it at school for English because I'd heard the song and I fucking discovered the poem because of it. And obviously it's got that fact, water everywhere and not a drop to drink. I mean, I've heard that countless times.
Oh, it's like a saying, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd heard it, before I'd even heard this. When I was in my teenage years, and before I'd heard this. But it's one of them things. It's been in it like 200 years before this was written, and it's made its way. And the poem is about basically be kind to animals. The crux of it, he kills the albatross, he gets fucking bad luck. Just be kind to. It's the ultimate. Be kind to fucking Mother Nature, or she'll fuck you.
Yeah. Oh really? Okay. I didn't realise that.
That's the crux of it. Obviously, I'm skipping over and I'm glossing over and I'm painting broad strokes. But that for me, that's what it is. It's like treat fucking planet Earth like you want it. Otherwise, it will come back and bite you in the ass. Yeah.
No. The only thing that made me look deeper into the meaning of the song, I thought it was just about like a voyage that looks a bit hopeless, and all of a sudden they're stranded or something like that. But I was putting furniture together. Actually, I was putting like wardrobes together, and just had
metalhead.
Yeah, and I had the telly on, and I just had YouTube on, was just playing music at random, and this came on. But it was a video, but it was like a story, it wasn't animated, but it was all pictures from the story, if you know what I mean. So say it was a ship, but then it would zoom in on a ship, and then the next thing would be like a character's face, and so it sort of told the story in pictures along with the song. And so it's a series of stills rather than like animated, and it was just sort of, I was kind of like watching it while I was putting it together, and then I ended up just sort of sitting there watching it, and I was like, "Fucking hell, this is actually pretty cool." I didn't realise there was to it, but it is kind of, as much as it's a big long epic song, it is kind of a couple of bits stuck together.
Oh no,
in the middle. It's not as clever as it makes out.
Sections. There's like 3 or 4 or 5 sections where I suppose it's the way you have to do it. You can't just write a fucking 13.5 minute long song and just go, right, let's go. You've got to plan it out. You've got to have your changes, you've got to have your sections. And I mean, but this does it seamlessly. And it's the weird one because it's normally when you see a song on like, and it's 13.5 minutes, like when we did for the rock show with Gully and Joe, when we did Metal Commando from Thingy's new album. What are they fucking called?
Primal Fear.
Yeah. You see that long song at the end, and when you hear it, it starts off mellow. You got all the mellow in.
Oh yeah, I said it was like Cathedral Spires, didn't I?
Yeah, it goes on for minutes at a time. You know, all the long songs, they always start off mellow. This, fuck no, boom, in you go. It's like fucking hell. You know, where did that come from? Straight into it, no mucking about. And it's like that. I mean, I know you've got the mellow interlude, but that's there as a build-up for some dynamism to finish the song with. But basically the song is fucking, it's like 60 miles an hour for 10 minutes.
It is funny though, because when I say, I've said before, some song, I always go, I like this song, but I prefer watching it live. Yeah. I actually prefer listening to this than the live version.
Oh yeah, the live version, for some reason, it doesn't quite work, I don't think.
But yeah, for some reason, we get to, the quiet bit in the middle, it's just sort of, I think, I did listen to a podcast where they were talking about Iron Maiden. They come up to Ryan, their agent, Mario, and he said, I don't know what it is with that song, man. Yeah, it's good and everything, but I just want to go make a sandwich when it's on.
That's fucking sacrilege, man.
Yeah. And I kind of, live, they pull it off. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes if it's shit, but I don't know. It's just, I prefer listening to this.
Yeah, no, the studio version is fucking majestic,
especially
mate. Majestic.
The atmospheric bit in the middle with the,
Oh, it brings you right up.
Creaking of the floorboards and the spoken word. It just goes in the ears better than in the eyes, Yeah.
I mean, I've listed out the changes and all the rest of it, and it's like, they incorporate the poem into the lyrics. A couple of times he does it. Obviously, water everywhere, not a drop of drink, and all the rest of it. It's you got the first change comes in about 3 minutes odd. His guitar's just playing open chords while Harris is fucking trundling away underneath, just carrying the song. And then about 5 minutes again, you get the next change. You get that's when it goes mellow. Goes on for a couple of minutes. And the third change about 7 minutes in, and that's when it fucking kicks off with that one of the most epic bits of music ever, the build-up. And when it kicks back into the main song, just before the solo kicks in. Fucking hell. I even remember...
And even on the live show, when that does kick in, fireworks go off, and
I even remember fucking saying, like, one of my old mates from who I met at college, he was into Maiden, but never really a proper metal, like not a proper metaler. He appreciated Maiden because he was more of a blues playing guitarist, and he always remember he was into them, but not really.
You get that. You do get that with Maiden. You get people that aren't into metal but do like Maiden. They kind of listen to Maiden, but no one else.
Yeah, and he listened.
You
to
with Metallica a little bit as well.
He listened to this, and he was sort of.
Just going to wait for him to kick in again.
he was getting through the intro. You back?
Yep, go on.
Right, yeah, I'll fucking spazzed out then. Right, anyway, back to where. Yeah, he's saying he was listening to this, and he was getting through the intro bit and all the music and all of that. But then when it kicked in, that build up, he said that bit of music was some of the finest music he'd ever heard. And this is a blues guy, you know, like they proper musos, isn't they?
Yeah.
But he was like, no, that section is one of the finest bits of music I've ever heard. And he it's like fucking hell, you know, Maiden have hit something now. But it's just spellbinding. Goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it now. You know, that bit of music is fucking sensational. And it's as I said, it's the pinnacle of Maiden's evolution. You know, like I say, they've worked for 10 years, since 75, well, 9 years, 75 to 84. They've worked. Harris has fucking put them on this course with Smallwood. And this is it. This is the fucking top of the mountain. And for me, this is the reason why the Summer in Time sounds like it did, with the synthesizers and all the rest of it, because they couldn't go any further doing this style. This was the end of the first part of Maiden's chapter.
Yeah.
They had to fucking adapt it to move forward.
Yeah, they reached a peak, and yes, of course, they didn't, you know, hit bullseye every time, but like a workman, you know, a gold digger goes out and digs for gold every day. He doesn't always find gold, but he has to go out, you know. And so, yeah, they didn't hit it. You know, there was the odd song where they didn't quite hit the mark, which we've covered. But when they did hit it,
it was bullseye, wasn't it?
This is what we made it for. And yeah, they certainly hit a creative peak, a peak that they were working up to. And it was right now they've reached like the top of the mountain. It's like, well, now what do we do? And,
that's it, yeah.
Well, what they do is they look over and they see an even taller one.
See the bigger mountain, yeah.
And they went, well, we're going to climb that one now.
Yeah.
Because it's too fucking far to go down.
That's it, yeah. All this work, all this effort,
yeah,
got to crack on.
And I think that's what it is. And they do reach it. They reach a couple of different peaks as well, actually. This wasn't the end of it, but it was certainly them reaching a certain level, which they then start from ground level again. But it's a peak, but it's the going forward.
Yeah,
it's their new
ground level, not the fucking ground level down there. This ground level up here, where they've worked hard to get to. Yeah, and they use that as the base to launch. You know, but yeah, no, I mean it is definitely the end of an era, but the start of something great.
I think that's a good place to leave it. So, yeah, the bands have reached a new high, a creative peak and a commercial peak. I wonder what Paul Di'Anno was up to. Speaking of creative peaks, I think next week we're going to look into the 1985 Di'Anno album.
I'm Hello, is that Joe Denver? Yeah, I can't come to work today because I can't be listening to that fucking shit.
It's got to be done, I'm afraid, mate. I was happy to tag it on to the end of this show, but you're the one that said...
no, we've got to do it properly. But we didn't
this is a journey, not a destination, remember? And there's going to be peaks and valleys.
That's it, yeah. Definitely fucking valleys.
And this
scores. Can't not score it. Scored all the rest.
Yeah. I'd give this album a 7 out of 10. As much as it's got some, great stuff on it, but other stuff does drag it down, I'm afraid. And I'm sick of being the nice one.
Yeah. So. No, I mean, I'll go with you. I've given it 7. Another potential classic, spoiled by filler. And I've got a bit of a controversial fucking one here. You might agree with me. I hope people will either agree with me or want me to die. One of the two. I think Maiden should have skipped 1983 altogether. They should have pulled their resources. The best 6 songs off of Peace of Mind were the first 6 songs. And tracks 1 and 2 and 7 and 8 off of this. Done a double album. Because it would have been long enough to be a double. You wouldn't have fitted it on a 44-minute vinyl. And you'd have had the greatest fucking album of all time. That's my take on it.
I agree with you about 90%. I don't think it would have been a double album. I think they should have filed it down. Well, no. the 6 songs off of Peace of Mind and the 4 songs off of Powerslave, it would have been a double album then, but it wouldn't have been a double album now.
No, it would have been. That's what I'm saying. It would have been a double album. It would have been their first double, and it would have been an unsurpassable achievement. No bands would have looked at it and gone, fuck, we may as well retire because we ain't topping that.
Yeah. Mind you, most double albums would probably be a single album in the CD age. I mean, X Factor definitely would have been a double album, wouldn't it, if it had been released 10 years before? So, yeah, all right, fair enough. That's the only thing I disagree with you on, actually. And I'm just trying to think, could we let's try and put it onto one CD just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, 79 minutes. Ace's Eye. Well, you've got to start from there, Peace of Mind. You've got Where He Was There's like, 6.5?
They kind of do it on Live After Death, really. I mean, the first half of the show is these 2 albums. Yeah. I would say I would probably do it with Live After Death, actually. I'd go, right, let's look at the track listing. Hold on. Open with Aces High. Straight into 2 Minutes to Midnight. Revelations, Flight of Icarus. Trooper, Still Life. Powerslave, Rhyme of Ancient Manager. Rhyme of Ancient
Manager, yeah.
And I reckon drop Where Eagles Dare, because that's only a Thin Lizzy. I would agree with you, but I'd go, right, let's meet halfway. We'll do that. We're going to go back in time and we're going to skip 1983 and we're going to combine the 2 albums, but we've got to drop Where Eagles Dare.
Yeah, see, that's a...
It ain't real, Luke. You can meet me halfway just once.
No, I think you start side B with that.
Side B with what?
Where Eagles Dare.
Do you reckon?
You have to start an album side, as we're still obviously dealing with.
Right, so what would you start?
You started side A with Ace's Eye.
This has become a podcast. This has become a show on its own, actually. Yeah.
You started on side A with Ace's Eye. You got to start side B with Where Eagles Dare. You got 2 war songs. Boom.
Right, so let's do this. So we've got Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Revelations, Flight of Icarus. That's side 1. Side B, Where Eagles Dare, Trooper, Still Life, Powerslave.
Yeah.
Then Rhyme of Ancient Mariner. And Rhyme of Ancient Mariner, could that be... So you was doing it a double CD. Could you... No.
You got to do a double CD. You got 79 minutes to fill a CD, ain't you?
So it would be 1 CD, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But it would be 2 albums.
Have to be the homework, wouldn't it? We'll have to come back next week.
Yeah.
Let's face it, we're only going to be talking about Diano for about fucking 12.5 minutes.
I don't know what you're on about. I think it's an underrated masterpiece.
Yeah.
I think it's a
mantelpiece.
I think it's a strong body of work.
Yeah. Sure it is.
I
think we could do all the Diano's fucking solo stuff in one show.
Oh, come on. Battlezone and Killers.
No, I said solo because that's bands. Killers is a band.
Oh, no, fair enough. Yeah, Battlezone.
I like both Killers albums, but that hideousness.
Have you heard Menace to Society recently?
Oh, yeah, it's poor Pantera, but...
Fucking poor Pantera, poor Biohazard. He
loved it.
I'm Paul Piano from London, but I moved to LA, and now I'm a gangbanger.
Yeah. Fucking hell, yeah. It would have got lit up.
Cheers.
Yeah. It would have got lit up. But yeah, we can fucking deal with that when it comes. But I think, the next show is going to be short. All
right.
Well, we've got to cut. This is the longest one ever. So
we're giving spoilers away now. So
I don't think anyone gives a fuck.
We're going to be so next week we're going to have a break from Maiden. We've reached this peak. I think it's a good little closer of a chapter.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little palate cleanser with Diano. It'd be a palate cleanser, all right. Then we're going to catch up with Paul.
Yeah.
And then hit back on track with Somewhere in Time after that. So thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah.
If you're enjoying what you like, please spread the word. This is a brand new show.
Share the granny out of it.
Yep. Like it. Please like. That's all you got to do. Just click that little icon. It helps the algorithms of YouTube. Like I say, this is a brand new channel and a brand new show. So share it around. Share it with your mates. And yes, every Friday we're covering a Maiden show. We're either doing a Maiden album or a Maiden related album, and we're going to be doing them all in order. So that's your solo albums, your side bands, and all the nooks and crannies in between. So it's looking like we've got about a year ahead of us. We're going to be doing a separate show on Eddie. We're going to be doing the live albums. At some point, we're going to be doing the B-sides. We're probably going to have a couple of little debates as well, maybe discuss the singers and their various pros and cons and what each singer brought to it, and maybe a little debate on guitarists, maybe just some main debates along the way. There's obviously, you know, various debates that people have on question boards and forums, and that we'll probably tackle a couple of them. Of course, during this time, we're bound to have a new album, be it a Maiden album or a Bruce Dickinson album or side project of Agent Smith.
We've already got a live album, brand new announced.
And obviously, I've already pre-ordered my copy of that. So I'll be doing an unboxing video on this channel for that. We can maybe do a review at Christmas over that. But then again, we were going to do a separate show going over the live album, so we'll probably do that then. But I'll do an unboxing on this channel anyway for that. So yeah, busy. Don't go anywhere. Like, subscribe.
Not that you can.
Share it with your mates. And yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Bye.